Welcome to Film Recap. Today, we are going to talk about a 2021 sea monster film called Luca. Beware of the spoilers and have fun. Off the coast of Porto Rosso, a small fishing town in Italy, two fishermen venture out to sea in the middle of the night near an island called the Isola del Mare. One of the fishermen is concerned about the rumors of sea monsters that live near the island, but the other fisherman thinks they are just stories to keep fishermen away from a great fishing spot. While they pull up their fishing nets, something swims around taking things from their boat. One of the fishermen is startled by the creature, and cannot figure out what it is. The creature breaks their fishing net and jumps over their boat, terrifying the two fishermen. They try to kill the creature, but is unsuccessful and they flee for their lives. Somewhere at the ocean floor, a young sea monster boy named Luca herds his fish around the ocean floor. He sees strange foreign objects around and begins collecting them. Suddenly, a ship moves across the surface above him and he hides, knowing that the land monsters are dangerous. Luca is bored of his life under the sea and he wishes to see the surface world. His mother calls to him, warning about the boat having murderous creatures from the land, and that the surface world is a forbidden place to go to. After lunch, Luca returns to the place with all the foreign objects to collect again. All of a sudden, a human in an underwater suit with a spear comes down behind him. Luca turns and is frightened by the monster and swims away. Luckily, there was just another sea monster boy, named Alberto, inside the suit. He collects all of the stuff that Luca was gathering and Luca chases after him for stealing his stuff. Alberto swims to the shore and Luca is shocked that he would do such a thing. Alberto pulls Luca out of the water and he transforms into a human. He learns how to breathe and is amazed by the whole other world above the surface. That night, Luca cannot stop thinking about the surface and he craves to see more of it. The next day Luca goes back to the shore and meets Alberto again. He notices that he transforms to a human anytime he leaves the water. Alberto teaches him how to walk and shows him all of the interesting human stuff. Luca sees a picture of a Vespa and he is compelled by a desire to have one. He stays late on the island with Alberto trying to build a Vespa out of the random human things around them. He spends the next few days hanging out with Alberto, becoming best friends. They try to test out their homemade Vespa down a hill, but Luca is too scared to try. Alberto convinces him to conquer his fears and try it anyways. They both ride the Vespa down a hill and off a ramp out into the ocean. They are about to crash into a large rock, but Luca pushes them out of the way and they narrowly avoid it. Luca sees the nearby human town and wonders what it is like. They fall asleep dreaming about having a real Vespa to explore the world. Luca wakes up at night realizing that he did not go home in time. His parents wait for him as he comes home. They plan to punish Luca by sending him to live with his uncle in the deep dark ocean bottom. They want to prevent him from ever going to the surface again. Luca is angered by his parents' decision and runs away to the human town with Alberto, thinking that they will not follow him there. They sneak onto the island, transforming and blending in with the humans. Luca is cautious and frightened by the humans with their deadly weapons. Luca does not want to stay after seeing all of the pictures around the town with their history of murdering their kind. They are distracted by a man on a real Vespa, who is the local bully named Ercole. Luca nearly knocks over the Vespa and offends Ercole. In retaliation, he tries to dump Luca into the fountain. He freaks out knowing that if he gets wet, he will be revealed to be a sea monster. He is saved by a red-headed girl and Giulia. They follow and ask her about competing in the Porto Rosso Cup race. If they win, they will have enough money to buy a Vespa of their own. Ercole is the current champion of the race and they will have to beat him in order to win. They decide to band together and become a team of underdogs. Giulia takes them to her house to meet her dad, who will give them money for the race entry fee. Her father is a one-armed fisherman who specifically hunts sea monsters. Luca and Alberto are cautious around the father, but stay for dinner because they are hungry. Giulia asks her father for the entry fee, but they do not have much money. They decide to work for the father to earn money. Having nowhere to sleep, Giulia lets Luca and Alberto sleep in her tree house. Luca's parents emerge from the sea onto the shore, transforming into humans. They terrorize the children in the town, trying to find their son by splashing water on them. Giulia's father takes them out to go fishing, and he is prepared to kill any sea monsters that may come near. Luca and Alberto are cautious to not get wet. They show Giulia's father where the better spot to fish and they bring in a huge haul. With the money for the entry fee, they sign up for the Porto Rosso Cup race. A triathlon consisted of swimming, eating pasta, and riding a bike through the town. The three spend the week training for the race. Luca rides a bike, Alberto eats pasta, and Giulia swims. While Giulia is training to swim, the boys stay on a boat. Nearby, Ercole is sailing around hunting for sea monsters. They chase after Luca, Alberto, and Giulia, and they are nearly revealed as sea monsters, but are able to hide just in time. Luca notices that his parents are looking for him around the town and he tries to avoid them. Luca and Giulia start becoming closer to each other. She talks about going to school and Luca takes interest in it. Alberto becomes jealous of their growing relationship and he reminds Luca that they are here to get a Vespa and go anywhere on their own. Out of nowhere, a harpoon comes rushing past them. It was thrown by Ercole, and he wants those boys to get out of town because they don't belong here. Luca and Alberto get into an argument after crashing their bike into the ocean. Luca wants to go to school, but Alberto wants to get the Vespa to explore the world. Luca asks Giulia if he can go to her school and she agrees, but Alberto decides to reveal himself as a sea monster to convince Luca that everyone will fear him, and no one will accept him. Giulia is scared that the Alberto sea monster is going to hurt her. Luca turns on Alberto, and acts afraid of a sea monster, leaving him to retreat and feeling betrayed. Luca and Giulia return back to her house trying to figure out if they can do the race with just the two of them. Giulia soon discovers that Luca is a sea monster after splashing water on his hands. She sends him away knowing that her father and this town will be out to murder him if they found out. Luca finds Alberto back at his hideout. Alberto reveals that his father abandoned him, and thinks that Luca will do the same. Luca decides that he will enter the triathlon on his own so that he can win the Vespa for both of them. On the first day of the race, Luca puts on the underwater suit to hide his sea monster transformation. The town is prepared to kill any sea monsters that may appear during the race. Luca and Giulia successfully complete the swimming challenge and the pasta eating challenge. During the biking challenge, it begins to rain, and Luca avoids getting wet by hiding under a doorway. Alberto suddenly arrives with an umbrella to shelter Luca. Ercole trips him, revealing his sea monster form. The humans become frightened, and begin to look for their harpoons to slay the monster. After Ercole traps Alberto in a fishing net, Luca faces his fears and bikes out in the rain, revealing his sea monster form so that he can save his friend. They are chased by the enraged Ercole and his harpoon. Right before Ercole is about to kill them, Giulia crashes into him, and Luca and Alberto stop to help her up. The town sees the sea monster boys and they approach them with their harpoons, including Giulia's father. Giulia's father then realizes that the sea monsters are actually Luca and Alberto, and convinces the town to put away their harpoons. He proclaims them as the winners of the race as their bike made it across the finish line, defeating Ercole. Other humans reveal themselves to be sea monsters, and the town realizes that they had nothing to be afraid of. Ercole is humiliated by his former henchmen, who are tired of suffering from his abuse. Luca is reunited with his parents. They are angry that he ran away, but also proud of him that he was able to let the town accept sea monsters. They celebrate at Giulia's house with the newly bought Vespa. Sometime later, they see Giulia off at the train station. Alberto reveals that he sold the Vespa for a train ticket for Luca, allowing him to go to school with Giulia. Alberto and Luca's parents made arrangements for him to stay with Giulia's family. Luca is ready to get on the train, and thinks Alberto is going to join him. He reveals that he did not buy a ticket for himself, and decided to stay with Giulia's father to work for him. Luca boards the train, seeing Alberto behind him, cheering and waving goodbye in the distance. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for more film recap videos.